Yes, folks, it's Tales from the Jails with John G. Sutton. Hey, congratulations everybody who's helped me get this channel growing. We've taken it up. We've taken it up about 20 followers in the last few days. We're at now 8,200, 8,000. Anyway, we're somewhere like that. We're definitely getting there, 300, something like that. So we're going to get there now. Come on, let's help. Like and subscribe and leave me your comments. I like your comments. Somebody said I look like Santa Claus. Me? Looking like Santa Claus? I don't look like Santa Claus. When I read that, I laughed so much I nearly fell off my sleigh. Prancer and Dancer were running off. I must have scared them. Jingle bells, jingle. Anyway, forget about that nonsense. I'm going to talk today about Crown immunity and the unfortunate deaths of two individuals in HM Young Offenders Unit, Polmont, and the two individuals that died were Katie Allen, aged 21, and William Brown, aged 16. And the parents of Katie Allen have set together to actually do something about this by lobbying Parliament. That's Mr. Stewart and Mrs. Linda Allen, and they've managed to get their Member of Parliament to put down a 10-minute bill to uplift the Crown immunity of HM prisons. Now, those of you who are unfamiliar with what Crown immunity is, I'll give you a brief explanation here and also put a link down below to the BBC article concerning this tragic case. What Katie Allen and William Brown found when they got to Polmont Young Offenders Institution was that they were placed into cellular accommodation and pretty well left to it. Now, the problem that you've got is young people like that, in fact anybody really who's experiencing prison, and they're not really hardened career criminals, are going to find that they're in a very strange environment where misery, desperation and whole hope transpires as they've walked through the gates into hell. More on that later, but that's what they find, and they lose hope. Now, what they should have and what is in place in most prisons are what's known as F lists. F, that means fellow decide, death by your own hand. They are put on F suicide watches, and staff are required every 15-30 minutes to keep a regular watch on these particular inmates who are vulnerable and potentially may harm themselves. When I was at Strangeways, and this is verifiable actually, I introduced a system for people who were on suicide watch, F inmates, so that all their incoming mail would be read with and all their mail sheets would be marked with a big red F, so that the census officers would know that the inmate receiving these letters was susceptible to potential self-harm or even suicide. The idea being that people like that, if they receive letters rejecting them from their family or their loved ones, or they got a Dear John or distressing news, then that letter would be flagged up and they would be supervised whilst they read this letter and then put on enhanced suicide watch. That was not implemented until 1983, 82, 83, when I was a hospital officer at Strangeways and I had to deliver a very distressing letter to a vulnerable inmate, and I personally read it to them, and the result was, of course, that they were cared for and that they didn't despair and lose hope. But until that was introduced around about 1982, there was no such thing. It was just they were put on F-Watch, and the letters would just be handed to them in the normal manner with no previous guidance. So that's something I personally did. It wasn't particularly well received, let me tell you that. But anyway, the Crown immunity system is basically this. Anybody that dies in HM prisons, despite the fact that it may be through negligence of the organisation of the prison system, the Crown has immunity. It may not be prosecuted. So the bill going through Parliament, having been lobbied by Stuart and Linda Allen, and well done to them for actually getting something done. Most people don't, but they're obviously intelligent people who have gone about this doing it the right way. What they're trying to do is to get the Crown immunity lifted so that the prisons and the prison staff, the prison governor even, can be prosecuted for criminal negligence. I also have discussed this previously on this channel, in that they are exempt from the Health and Safety Act. Exempt because of Crown immunity. Now, if the prisons lose Crown immunity, it means that they are required under the Health and Safety Act of 2022 to actually assess if it is safe for staff to work in certain situations. Now, this will put a great deal of pressure on HM prisons if they lose Crown immunity, because they're currently placing highly vulnerable, unsophisticated Hostess Brigade recruits, 5 foot 2 inches tall, weighing 8 stone, females on the landings, lipstick handbags at dawn, on you go, no health and safety assessment. That will stop if they lose their Crown immunity. And the Prison Officers Association, well, it is quite possible that they will actually do something about this. Don't you think that they should? I'm absolutely certain that this should happen. But what will it happen? That's the question. And I believe that it's got to happen now, because this bill is likely to get passed. Of course, there's a struggle once it's got past the first stages to protect the innocent. I mean, age 21, Casey Allen, just despair when they get into that. I mean, if you're not criminal minded, or you're not a career criminal, and you get thrown into an establishment like that, it's absolutely alien. It is an environment for which you're not prepared, and if the staff are not placing you on suicide watch and taking care of you, then you are extremely vulnerable. So that's going to happen now. I put a link down below to the BBC article on this. There's also a link down below for all those delightful people who want to buy me a coffee. I was going to say a Jack Daniels then. Anyway, so I've decided that it would be appropriate for me to read you part of this poem. I'm not going to read it all. It's a massive book, actually, by Dante Alighieri, and it's from the Divine Comedy. It's Canto number 3 from what is better known as Dante's Inferno. Through me the way into the suffering city, through me the way to the eternal pain, through me the way that runs among the lost. Justice urged on my high artificer, my maker was divine authority, the highest wisdom and the primal love. Before me nothing but eternal things were made, and I endure eternally. Abandon every hope who enter here. These words, their aspect was obscure, I read inscribed above a gateway, and I said, Master, their meaning is difficult for me. And he said to me, as one who comprehends, here one must leave behind all hesitation. Here every cowardice must meet its death. That is an extract from Canto number 3, the Divine Comedy, otherwise known as Dante's Inferno. Very appropriate, don't you think? That, of course, is the Songdinger, and along with the Songdinger comes a song. And I'm going to sing to you now a song that I have previously sung before, but I think you've probably heard this before. This is The Streets of Laredo, and it's before Marty Robbins performed this, I believe. Marty Robbins performed this, so here we go. As I walked out in the streets of Laredo, as I walked out in Laredo one day, I spied a dear cowboy wrapped up in white linen, wrapped up in white linen, as cold as the clay. I see by your outfit that you are a cowboy. These words he did say as I boldly stepped by. Come sit down beside me and hear my sad story. I am shot in the breast and I know I must die. I was once in the saddle and used to go dashing. It was once in the saddle I used to go gay. But I first took to drinking and then to card playing. Got shot in the breast and I'm dying today. Oh, beat the drum slowly and play the fife lowly. Play the Dead March as you carry me along. Take me to the green valley, there lay the sod o'er me. For I'm a young cowboy and I know I've done wrong. Get 6 jolly cowboys to carry my coffin. Get 6 pretty maidens to bear up my pall. Put bunches of roses all over my coffin. Put roses to deaden the sods as they fall. Then swing your rope slowly and rattle your spurs lowly, and give a wild whoop as you carry me along, and in the grave throw me, and roll the sod o'er me, for I'm a young cowboy, I know I've done wrong. Go bring me a cup of cold water, to cool my parched lips, the cowboy then said. Before I returned, his soul had departed, and gone to the roundup, the cowboy was dead. We beat the drum slowly, and played the fife lowly, and busily wept as we bore him along. For we all loved our comrade, so brave, young and handsome. We all loved our comrade, though he had done wrong. There you go. The Streets of Laredo. I sincerely hope you liked that. If you did, tomorrow morning, 9 a.m, I've got a needle ready to sort you out. It's Tales from the Jails with John G. Sutton. Like, subscribe, comments.